Hey everyone, this is PenMark, and welcome to my next drawing session. Before I start, I just wanted to say I really appreciate the feedback I got already. With my first video, my first attempt, I didn't think it was going to be that good. But if you guys liked it, thank you for letting me know. I will return to traditional stuff at a future time, but right now I really need to work on a commission. So you guys are along the ride, like a live stream without the live part. But I apologize, my throat is bad. I'm kind of sick, but I will go back to traditional stuff later. Right now I need to work on the digital part of the picture. A lot of what I talk about still applies to pencil on paper art, because I learned all of my art techniques on back in high school. I learned it all on paper and canvas way before I ever got a tablet. So a lot of what I'll talk about still kind of applies to traditional artists, don't worry. I don't always do sketches on paper and then scan it. A lot of the times I'll just open a new layer over here and then work from there, because it just saves time. But this, some people do it like this, and sometimes I've had a sketchbook picture. I'll have a page of something I just doodled and I liked the idea, so then I scanned it into the computer. Some of my Zootopia pictures that people have seen, a lot of those were started from a doodle in my sketchbook. I would just draw it and then get the idea later on of doing something digital with it. So yeah, that's excuse my throat. All right, so anyway, I need to be better with my time. So before I actually start, I wanted to quickly show you guys, if I were going to upload this as an actual picture to be finished on the computer, always remember that working on the lighting is so important. I've seen amazing pictures with bad lighting that kind of ruined the magic. Because you can have a really, really well drawn picture, but if the lighting's poor, people won't really get the full effect of your actual picture, like the real original paper is. The sheet of paper and light. People can always in a room, you can always just get in better lighting and go, oh, okay, that's what the picture looks like. Online, they only see what you upload, so make sure it's accurate. So like right now, if this were a real thing, I would go on my phone or the computer here. There's so many free programs that can do this, that you can adjust the levels and make the lines easier to see. You don't want to do something too drastic, because people need to see what you actually did. So keep it as accurate as you can, but help the picture show up better. This is just kind of an example, but I'm playing with it, as you can see, adjusting the lighting, and I do this with a lot of them just to make sure that it looks accurate to the original. Right now I don't need to do that because this is just a sketch. This is just a skeleton I'm going to build off of. Without further ado, on to the next stage of painting. So when I'm doing my digital paintings, I do a skeleton like this. I'll now go to just a paintbrush. I don't do fancy brushes much. I have some over here, but they're all default brushes that came with the program. I know plenty of artists use really good brushes and lots of brushes and make their own brushes. Part of it has been that I'm lazy. Another part has been that it actually is just that I've never had the time to do it. So yeah, it's all laziness. I just found the ones that it already had and worked with those. You'll see me use some of them as I go, because this is going to be a big painting. But right now, I'm just using a normal round brush, hard edge. And I try to start with the opacity around 40. Opacity's up here, and all the opacity, I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but the opacity means how dark, technically I said that last episode, what it really means is how transparent it is. Because with, I start at 40 opacity, and what it means is when I make a brush stroke, you can see it, and then if I make another brush stroke in the same place, wherever it overlaps is dark. And that's because of opacity. It's how transparent the brush is. Like with traditional stuff, it would be how much water is in it with the pigment on your paintbrush. But with this, I'm just doing it for, I'm just doing low opacity, because you can build up shadows and stuff with this. So, I need to build the depth in this picture and really clean it up. So, I get my brush a pretty decent size and just start darkening areas and clarifying where objects are. Right now I'm just doing a simple black because I'm using it to make sense of the picture, not because I'm actually going to be using blacks like this. I kind of said this before, and now you're going to get to see it. It's so much easier to start a picture, even if you're having trouble, if you break it into small steps. I think a lot of people have trouble and get intimidated because they try to do everything at once in one big step on their first try. And I can tell you firsthand, that makes everything harder. So don't do it like that. If you do it in small steps, it doesn't matter if one step fails, because you can easily redo it again, because they're small steps. But yeah, as you can see, like, I'm breaking up what objects are most important. I'm making sure this couch looks really obvious, like it's easy to see it. And I'm breaking up like foreground, background, and I use tons of layers that I later on merge together. Right over here you can see I opened up my third layer. This background layer doesn't really matter, so I guess I'll merge that down. So now I have my background sketch layer, my first bit of cleanup right here, and then my next layer I'm going to do to push the background back. So I'm going to first do a black blot, lower the layer opacity to like this, so it's really a transparent layer of black, and then I'm going to take an eraser, again kind of at low opacity, doesn't really matter how big it is, and then start erasing that black layer to make the objects pop. See, I'm making my characters sort of glow all of a sudden. And it's because I need to really keep track of all these objects, because as the picture gets busier, there's going to be a lot of confusion if I'm not careful. I've done so many paintings that halfway through I was lost. I lost track of where some of the objects were. And with painting, as you're going to see, it's really, it can get really tricky to keep all of the contrast consistent, because you need to be able to see objects in front of other objects. And like right now, here you go. There's not much contrast between my hands, so when I put them over top of each other, they almost blur together. But when I move them apart, you can see some light on this hand, and that helps them pop. And that's kind of what I'm doing right here. I'm telling myself, okay, what parts need to pop, and what parts can kind of fade and blur into the background. As you kind of will notice, there's a lot of lag, and it's because my computer is very old. Yeah, despite the skill I've gotten over the years, I do not have very good equipment. It's been for a lot of reasons, one of which is just a lot's happened in the past few years, and I haven't been able to save up money to get good equipment. So this computer I have is like 7 or 8 years old. Yeah, pretty much it was like 6 or 7 years old. So it's really old, and when I'm doing a big picture like this, it lags. So yeah, you are not limited by your equipment or your media. If you have anything, even just, you know, pencils and like cheap pencils you got at a store, and computer paper. Yes, there's better stuff to use in the future, but you can still learn a lot and do great pictures with even that. It's not your equipment that makes you the artist. And I'm proving this here with a very old computer. And I'm still gonna, you know, work on my picture. Okay, this helps to really pop everything out. I might not have the black layer be that dark. I think I'm gonna lighten it a little bit. Okay, I actually did enough on the underneath layer. I don't even need it anymore. So delete that fake black layer. It still gave you enough to work off of. You got to see how I break everything apart. Ooh, excuse me. I might try making this episode a few minutes longer. Last time I felt it was way too long, but people didn't seem to complain about the length. So, yeah, the next thing I would be doing on top of this layer is making my brush a lot smaller, keeping it probably at around 40, and doing the next layer of sketch where maybe I'll make my opacity up to 60, and I'm starting to kind of clean up that sketch I had underneath. Because last time it was, you can tell, it's really messy. It's just raw information. Now I'm going to kind of do guidelines of, okay, this person's looking this way, here's the shoulders, he's putting his hand on the other guy's shoulder to kind of comfort him, he's leaning forward in order to do it, here's his hand holding a video game controller. Again, it's still pretty sketchy. It's not that well defined. I am not the fastest artist. I'm lazy, and I take the long way with a lot of my stuff. But on the bright side, being lazy means I want the picture to be finished, so I will power through a picture. And if you can channel your inner impatience to get you to finish pictures more often, that's super useful. Just get yourself to keep trying and work on the pictures. I don't know where I was going with that. Because when I get really sketchy and like into a picture, I zone out, which isn't the most appropriate thing for when I'm talking to an audience. As you can see, I'm just cleaning up this picture, adding lines, and it's another layer of sketches. Again, just to figure out where everything is. This guy's yelling, feeling really whiny because he lost. This guy's also sad, but mainly just the fact that the other guy is so upset. It's supposed to be kind of cartoony and silly. I don't think the commissioner intended this to be a overly dramatic, serious picture. It's supposed to be just a group of friends having fun with video games, being competitive. I think you can see what I'm doing here, and I'm already getting a little over time on my episode, but honestly, these episodes will change over time because I'm kind of just making this up as I go. I don't know how the format of these episodes will be. I just want to share stuff with you guys. And if you guys are okay with longer episodes like this, or even longer, let me know. Maybe I'll just keep it a variety and do some long episodes, some short episodes, and just go back and forth. Again, whatever your opinion is, what you think I should be doing here, or what you'd love to see, let me know in the comments. I'm really, really appreciative to hear that, if what you like, but it's okay to also let me know what you need to see more of, or what you wish I would have done instead. Or again, any questions too. If you're just like, guys, or guys, I'm only one person. I'm used to talking to you. If you were to say, hey Richard, hey PenMark, can you talk more about anatomy, or can you talk more about the how you figure out the anatomy, how you're figuring out these poses, or whatever your question is, let me know that, because yeah, I want to be able to know what to focus on, because Believe it or not, you guys are like kind of my first community of what do I call you guys? Followers, whatever works. I want to listen to what you're curious about and then respond via these episodes. So yeah, you guys are basically seeing what I'm doing here. It's kind of it's still loose and sketchy, but it's keeping more. It's getting me in the right direction. I'm starting to slowly make sense of my nonsense. You're starting to see, okay, this guy has his tongue sticking out. This guy's looking upward as he. This guy's looking upward as he's upset. He's trying to comfort him. He's winning, and he's in shock. And again, you can see like very vague shadows here, keeping track of, oh right, I mentioned a bag of potato chips. I don't know what brand. Here's a mug. And look, like even now, it doesn't matter how messy my lines are, because I'm still thinking with the lines. I made that comment before, and it was a good accident. I liked that phrase. To think with your pencil. Like that was a good accident. Because that is what you're doing with sketching. A lot of artists, when they're starting, think that what they first put on paper has to look good, and no. I'm a perfect example. There's plenty of really messy sketches that get you in the right direction over time. And like you even saw with pencil and paper, it still applies. And like right now, some of the perspective's off because this table needs to be flat, but right now it looks like it's falling over. So I'll have to work on the perspective. I mean, sometimes pictures take a long time, and just get yourself to draw a lot. If you keep doing drawings and you keep like messing them up all the time, that's fine, because you're going to start to notice. Basically, if you're lazy and you're trying to hurry up and get a good picture and you keep doing them over and over and over, the mistakes you make are going to start to become obvious. And the more obvious your mistakes are, then you know what to avoid and what to try working on. Like with me, I always in the past was too I think I was afraid to plan things out enough, because I was like, no, I have to already start adding in the good detail and make it look done. And it's like, no, you can constantly build and erase and then build again to make the picture look good. Your first attempt does not need to be the final draft. I think that's it for now. I've gone pretty long. Let me know what you guys think. I will continue this picture in my next episode. Hopefully I'll get to coloring and color theory and all that soon, and lighting. Thanks again. This is PenMark. Appreciate you watching, and see you next time.